Being a man of God is about bringing people closer to God. Welcome back to the Junior Mints podcast. This podcast is here to help you guys navigate the difficulties of life while also helping you guys see the fun sides of life at the same time. My name is Finn Lawler. I'm your host. Let's get to it. So in this episode, I will be talking about what it means to be a man of God. This episode is geared more towards men, but ladies, you're more than welcome to listen to it as well. And, also because I don't know what it's like to be a woman of God. So feel free to listen and add your insight if you want. So being a man of God means being a disciple, and it means to disciple. So put simply, discipling means to mentor somebody, biblically, preferably. This goes both ways. It's also important, I think, to be a disciple of somebody. Someone who's older than you, or maybe it's someone you want to be like when you're older, or maybe it's somebody that you admire, that you want to have the same career as them. Whatever it is, it needs to be somebody who can kind of lead you to where they are in their life, So, best part is that you are a disciple and you can disciple others. It's kind of cool how you can do both, And the best part is we are all God's disciples and Jesus' disciples. Whether we realize it or not, we are God's disciples. God is your mentor, if you allow him to be. Of course, he's inviting you to be his disciple. He's inviting you each and every day. Now, whether you accept the invitation to be his disciple, that's up to you. So, being a man of God means to take up your cross and follow him. To become a godly man, you must deny yourself first and follow Jesus. This is basically the foundation of what it means to be a Christian, where Jesus died on the cross for us. He sacrificed his fleshly and his body for us to be with God. We can do the same. So this is the very first step that you can take, is to sacrifice yourself, not sacrifice yourself, but kind of surrender yourself. Surrendering yourself would be a better word than sacrificing. However, sacrificing would be a good thing to do. You can't become a godly man unless you do this first. Set aside your own desires and pursue God. This is probably, I think, the hardest step that you can take, because there's a lot you're giving up, but you're also going to get a lot in return. And being a Christian is not about receiving anything. In fact, it's about the opposite. It's about giving and not expecting anything in return. In other words, it's about not being entitled and just giving without asking for anything in return. It's hard to do for some people, but it's what you need to do. But when you think about it, like I said, you're basically giving up a lot. You're giving up a lot to follow Jesus. But there's this political cartoon I saw, not political cartoon, but there's this cartoon I saw where it was a kid holding a little teddy bear, and then on the other side of the frame, it was Jesus holding a big old teddy bear behind his back, and one of the speech bubbles was like, what am I gonna get in return? And whatever it is, maybe it's not. Maybe that's not how it is phrased, but Jesus is holding a giant teddy bear behind his back and going, "You're gonna get a whole bunch." So basically, just pick up your cross and become a disciple of Jesus. Just follow him. His invitation's open. Being a man of God, means reading the Bible and doing what it says. The Bible is your roadmap to becoming a man of God and to being a man of God. It lays out all the rules that Jesus gave to his disciples, and frankly, so much more. It's reasonable to guess and to assume that if you follow the teachings and advice given in the Bible, you may or may not become a man of God. More than likely, you will become a man of God, though. It's one of those things, though, where you have to also have the heart and the interest and the desires to follow God. Because if you just follow God willy nilly without really being emotionally invested in it, then it's like you're basically kind of like what it says in James 3, I think, where you're looking in a mirror but you don't see anything and you don't know who you're looking at. So basically follow God intentionally, just easier said than done, but once you do it, it's worthwhile. So follow him intentionally and take up your cross and read the Bible. Do your best if you can to read it every day. Maybe just one chapter a day, or even one little subsection a day. One subsection a day makes a big difference. So anyway, excuse me, I keep messing that up. Being a godly man means being a leader and a protector through God. So as men, we are recruited by God to be the leaders and protectors of our family, whether that's a family of one, a family of six, whatever. What matters is that we as men must protect, serve, and provide for our families financially, biblically, spiritually, all that. We must provide. Plus, men are wired with the genes to protect and serve. It's just how we're wired and made. So, might as well just do the job, right? And provide. Plus, it makes us, in my opinion, serving and protecting and providing makes me feel good. And it's not about feeling or anything. It's just about abiding by God's wisdom and doing what he says and what he's telling us to do. And what he's telling us to do is to provide, serve, protect our family, etc. So, yeah. Most important, and I think this is one of the most important things of being a man of God, is it means spreading the gospel each and every day. It could be like small ways, like, hey, inviting a friend to like a church group, or inviting a friend to like a Bible study or something. Being a man of God is all about bringing people, excuse me, towards God. Let me say that one more time. Being a man of God is about bringing people closer to God. So the very foundation of what it means to be a Christian is, again, spreading the gospel and doing what God says. Spreading the news of the gospel and remaining faithful to God is crucial to becoming the most godly man that you can become. That's really what it all comes down to. The more difficult part, I think, in my opinion, is remembering to do this every day and remembering to remain faithful every day. Because sometimes, we have those days where we don't really want to be faithful. Like, we don't really, quote unquote, feel like being faithful, but it's kind of like we know it deep down, knowing deep down that we have to remain faithful. Otherwise, things will go south. So, moral of the story, just remain faithful and keep on, doing God's bidding, I guess is what I'm doing God's will and bringing people closer to him, and like small things like going to like networking events and be like, hey, like if you get onto the topic of like, hey, I go to a church, I do ministry and all that, you should come by. And like simple things like that will make God happy, and he will be very grateful that you brought people to him that day. So that's what it really all comes down to when it comes to being a man of God. And like, it's easier said than done for sure. I am still, I think, in my early stages of being a man of God. Like each and every day I see like the benefits, and it's like, it's not about me getting the benefits. It's about God letting me know what I need to do and like guiding me as I do it. So, moral of the story, if you're a man, be a man of God. If you're a woman, be a woman of God. And think about it, best part is we're all children of God. And I actually heard this one time. Think about this. God has no grandchildren. He only has children. Think about that. Anyway, being a man of God takes years to master. I'm sure being a woman of God also takes years to master, but I mean, I've only been doing this for a couple months, and I've already, or actually no, more than that, a couple years at this point. And I already feel closer to him, and it's been awesome. So small steps each and every day, and it's as the saying goes, Rome wasn't built in a day, one day at a time. You got this. Anyway, this has been the Junior Mints podcast. If you enjoyed it, please drop a like, subscribe down below. Thank you guys so much for watching and listening, and we'll see you guys in the next episode. Peace.